Kamusta ang mga low carbers and mga fasters ngayong araw? How are you? Are you enjoying this lifestyle ba? And at the same time, meron bang mga challenges na na-overcome nyo na? Pero for those na nagsisimula pa lang at marami pa silang stressors or medyo nahihirapan sa pag-sustain ng low carb and fasting lifestyle because of those stressors, today we will talk about how to overcome them and kung paano maging sustainable yung lifestyle na ito by not just avoiding those stressors but dealing with them. And hindi lang ito about nutrition. Yes, correcting our health, improving our health through nutrition, low carb and fasting lifestyle is so important. Pero maraming aspects din na pwede nating i-add sa lifestyle na to to make it even better. And to help us, nandito tayo ngayon with no other than our Cebuana Coach Ann. Coach Ann Kasha. Hello, Coach Ann.
Hi Doc, maayong bunta o maayong udto na di ay sa tanan diha ang mga Cebuanos o Kabisayan sa lain-laing lugar no. Maayong udto. Salamat sa pag-invite nimo nako Doc to
Yes,
share.
Coach Ann. Of course. So, Coach Ann has been with us ever since we started. Like early last year, nagsimula po kami with our LCF Masterclass, the Pioneer Batch. It was a very extensive na learning sessions of whole day na pakikinig sa lessons on low carb and fasting. 5 Saturdays ata yun, no? 5 straight Saturdays. It was very
Yes.
exhausting. But I hope it paid off. And ngayon nga, Coach Ann is now a full-time coach and has been helping many Cebuanos. And even I learned, no, you have coaches also abroad when
Yes,
it comes
yes, Doc.
to supporting them in this low-carb lifestyle. So, going straight to the point, Coach Ann, ano ba yung iba't ibang mga stressors na parati mong na-encounter with your line of of advocacy being a coach in LCF at ano-ano naman yung mga ways to manage them?
Yeah, so that's a very good kind of discussion or sharing na to ron Doc no. So ang sa ako amang good kay it's good sa nga na-experience na ko no kay para pod na agad tay ma-share sa ato ang mga sorry, I'm talking Bisaya so I'll speak Tagalog pala, sorry. So it's good that I also experience the kind of stressors also so that I will know how to address yung mga sa lifestyle natin. So first yung paano ba i-keep yung yung carbs limit natin sa bawat araw kasi importante kasi yon kung alam natin at then number one talaga is yung paglimit ng carbohydrates is marami ang nagtatanong din about that. So ang sa akin when I learned na talaga kung how much carbs in every vegetables or in every food kasi nandun yan sa natin din ang part din yun sa lessons din. So, inano ko talaga siya, parang nilagay ko siya sa utak ko na I have to familiarize it para alam ko na hindi ako mag-over sa carbs per day. So, yun yung the first one that I always keep in my mind na para ma-sustain ko yung lifestyle. Yung carbs na mini-maintain ko is 30 to 50 grams a day lang yun. So that's meron ding sometimes kasi meron times talaga na yung pagkain is not available din yung purely low carb, merong halong ding sometimes it could be a dirty low carb or it could be like a high carb talaga yung nandyan sa pagkainan namin. So wala akong choice, Doc. So kaya ang ano ko na lang is I just have to eat what's in the table but like for example, ang available lang talaga na pagkain is yung pansit barong yung binili kasi yun yung available lang. So walang nabili na yun talagang nutrient din. So, I just take a little part of it. Tapos, sinasabi ko na lang sa sarili ko na it's not naman everyday mangyayari and it's just today. Tapos, the following, or maybe the next meal naman, ang babawi. So, parang ganun. So, I just take a very little part of it. Or yung fasting din talaga na nag-help din siya sa akin na I can I can do not eating naman din to avoid the carbs sa ano ko. So, yung para hindi ma-avoid ko siya para yung ma-avoid ko din yung possible na mangyayari sa katawan ko na mag-react siya.
Mm.
Kasi yun 'di ba, yung mag-react na sasakit yung back ko kapag too much ang carbohydrates na ma-take. So, yun. At saka pansit ano siya mataas yung yun niya starch.
Yes.
Yes. And
So, thank
then
you, Ann. So, emphasize natin yon, knowing the carbohydrate limit in low carb. Kasi iba-iba po tayo ng tolerance when it comes to carbohydrate limit. In general, hindi tayo nag-go over sa 50 gram of carbohydrate in a day. Kung iisipin nyo, yung kukunin ninyong source ng carbohydrate, the usual, pansit, kanin, tinapay, nasa isang cup ng kanin lang yan in a day. Or di kaya, it can be 2 slices of bread o isang small plate of pancit, if that's your source of carbohydrate. But if you want to look at it the low carb way, actually, yung 30 grams lang ng carbohydrate is also equivalent to 1 kilogram of petchay, 1 kilogram of lettuce, isang kilo ng green leafy vegetables. So it's actually so much. Sobra-sobra siya kung gusto lang natin is yung bulk. So there are different kinds of carbohydrate sources and you can get the most bulk sa dami at when it comes to filling talaga, yung nakakabusog, nakakapuno ng tiyan for those na sanay na punuan yung tiyan, yung the way sila kumain, then you can have those as sources. Hindi kailangan manggaling sa pansit and sa rice or sa bread. But yun nga, sabi ni Coach Ann, if there are times talaga na mako-corner ka at wala kang choice, at least you know, you are very mindful kung gaano kaliit lang yung pwede yung kainin and you just try to bawi. Maybe next meal, you'll do zero carb yung panahon na ikaw na talaga pagpe-prepare ng food mo. So those times na hindi ka na kailangang mag-oversee kung ano yung kailangan ninyong makukuhang carbohydrate. So that's the first important na tip ni Coach Ann when it comes to this way of life. So, before we proceed, eto si Coach Ann before. So, kita natin ngayon, no? She's so sexy, she's so petite, and very, very energetic. But hindi pala siya ganon for the longest time. Before, meron din pala siyang history na hindi rin siya ganon ka-sexy. Yan siya before. And this one, I think this one is when she attended our wedding reception just last week. So this is her recent photo and not just the weight loss. Marami din siyang health issues na na-resolve and she's ano yun? She's blooming, very, very blooming and glowing than ever. So yan, let's now move on to our second tip. So next tip, Coach Ann.
Yeah, thank you, Doc. So, yung pangalawa is avoid simple carbs and complex carbs. Talaga, inaano ko talaga siya. That's an everyday talaga na goal na hindi ka, matitem to eat it. Kasi when you are outside then, I'm going to somewhere, mall, merong a lot of temptations for you. So, ang sa akin naman, I really, thankfully naman sa akin, I don't really indulge na talaga or mag-indulgement lang ako ng simple, not simple carbs, but complex carbs pag ano lang may special occasion, but limited din yung ano ko, yung pag-i-indulge ko. So, occasional lang talaga siya. So, yun ang the most important thing is if that is the simple carbs and the complex carbs. So, example naman ng mga complex carbs natin is yung mga, kakanin. Mahilig tayo sa kakanin eh. So, me personally, until now, meron akong pa rin sa complex carbs, yung magre-react talaga yung katawan ko, Dok, pag kakain ako ng complex carbs, automatic yung back ko sa tagiliran ko, as in sasakit talaga siya. So I know my limit about especially kakanin, so mga ano lang, dalawang 1 to 2 lang talaga, okey na siya. 'Pag 3 na
One
'yan,
to two servings or 1 to 2 bites or ano ba yan?
ang serving, yung ba
Slices.
parang high ang ano ko, yeah.
Bite-size lang naman yung mga kakanin mostly din.
Pero
Parang
ano siya, maliit lang. Oo, maliit,
maliit lang.
oo.
Parang 2 kutsinta, for example.
Oo, yes, oo.
Gano'n, okey.
Pero as
So,
much as possible, 1 lang talaga.
1 lang, okey.
Mm.
Ako ano din, weakness ko din yung kakanin. That's why isa yon sa mga unang-unang ginawa ko. I think most of you were able to watch that video, that, simple kakanin fix, yung ube, halaya na you can do in just 5 minutes. I think marami
Mm.
na gumawa din nun. So, it is a fix that I go to every time meron akong kakanin cravings because I'm really, really fond of kakanin. Among us siblings, ako lang yung mahilig sa kakanin. And I'm so happy na with low carb, coconut flour lang, and then ube flavoring, and then yung coconut milk, yun lang. You can already have your own ube halaya fix. At sobrang sarap. And I'm so glad that you pointed this out kasi for the longest time, akala ng iba yung low carb is avoidance lang of sweets, which are mostly simple sugars. And I think I remember merong question yesterday if okay lang ba yung coconut palm sugar. Because coconut nga, nakikita natin mostly in our logo in National Low Carb Day, the letter C there is with coconut, 'di ba? But
Yeah,
cocoa palm sugar is actually high carb. Mataas pa rin ito sa fructose. It is a concentrated form of sugar na kinuha. Yung kakaunting sugar na nasa coconut ay kinoncentrate at ginawang sugar. It still contains a lot of fructose and glucose, and so it is still considered as simple sugar with some fibers, but still simple sugar. So we avoid all simple sugars. Most common would be table sugar, white sugar, brown sugar, muscovado, and then yun nga, cocoa palm sugar, even honey. So yung mga honey, agave syrup, ano pa ba? Ano nga yung maple syrup. So all of those are all simple sugars na kailangan natin i-avoid. Fructose corn syrup is one of the worst, if not the worst kind of sweetener. So we should avoid that one. And complex carbohydrate. Complex carbohydrate, hindi siya matamis, but we should also avoid it, especially if hindi pa talaga optimum yung health ninyo. Complex carbohydrates are placed under our caution list because for those who are 100% at the top of their health or already without inflammation, then from time to time maybe you can accommodate, but you should know your limit. Just like Coach Ann, alam niya when she reach a certain number like 2 kutsinta ay pwede nang sumakit yung kanyang likod. So you should be very mindful of what your body is telling you. So complex carbohydrates would include kakanin. So ano bang basic component ng kakanin? Sticky rice. So it's still rice. Kahit sticky rice yan, rice pa rin yan. It's also known as glutinous rice. And corn, yung mga wheat products, oats, oatmeal cookie, those are still complex carbohydrates, including kamote, kamote delight, or kung ano-ano pang byproducts nun. So all of those, including fruits generally, majority of the fruits, especially in the Philippines, except avocado, are mostly high in carbohydrates. So that's the second tip ni Coach Ann sa ating LCF lifestyle tips. Ano yung pangatlo, Coach Ann?
yeah, right. So yung pangatlo naman is you need to prioritize protein as part of, your every meal. So ito yung pinaka-challenging na ano ko talaga part kasi when ngayon nagtataasan ang mga presyo ng mga karne, 'di ba? So parang there is a hesitation na din sa family na mag-meat every day. So parang sa akin din parang nasasaktan ako kasi yun lang meat yung ano ko, yun talaga yung magbigay sa akin ng lakas, sigla, gano'n. So 'pag walang meat, like within a week, manghihina talaga ako, Dok. So yun ang na-experience ko yun, yung wala talaga akong kinakain na meat for a week. So, low carb though siya pa rin, but yung mga repolyo, yung talong, pero I need na ano ko sa katawan ko, I need meat talaga. So, parang, both, meat and vegetables na mga leafy, yun yung mag-ano talaga sa akin, I feel good really about it. But 'pag wala siya, ano talaga, parang merong mang mero ay
Lang.
parang hindi hindi maganda yung ano ko,
Function.
yung mood ko. So
Yes, and that is really true because protein is very, very important. Yun actually isa sa maraming mali ng iba because they thought when it comes to low carb is kailangan ano lang, basta kakain ka lang ng mga low carb gulay is tama na. But actually, you are endangering yourself of malnutrition. There is such a thing as protein malnutrition. Ang dami mo ngang kinain pero kinulang ka pa rin sa proteins and that's why sometimes they don't know kung bakit parati silang may cravings, hindi sila nasa-satisfy sa kinakain nila, and then their weight loss or their weight gain, both ways, no? Pwedeng hindi mangyari. And it's because of lack of proteins. Because proteins is very, very important and it's also gonna optimize your weight and your health both ways. Sa mga gustong mag-weight gain, protein is very important for muscle building. Whereas for those naman for weight loss, protein is also important to make sure na your body will not lack its needed energy and at the same time kapag mag-gluconeogenesis ka since you are in low carb hindi siya manggagaling sa muscles mo, you will preserve your muscle mass and you'll actually go into ketosis more sustainably. Kaya nga lang yun nga medyo challenging because protein is more expensive than vegetables, di ba? Especially dito sa Pilipinas. And kung hindi mo alam yan, you'll actually get trapped sa akala mo na ang pagkain ng gulay ay yun lang yung pinaka-importante. Eventually, it will not be sustainable. Kaya marami na nag-hair loss, nag-dry yung skin, nanghihina because they don't eat a lot of proteins. And also, even if it's a little more expensive, but there are cheap proteins, okay? Yung isda sa atin, especially the small fishes, mura lang yun. Mura lang siya. And if you will go into carbs, actually, magugutom ka, hindi siya sustainable. You tend to eat like 4 or 5 meals a day as compared to when you eat proteins, kahit OMAD, kahit 1 meal a day, you can sustain it. Si Love nga is nahihirapan ng kumain kasi whenever he eats protein, wala nang gana, no? No, yung second meal niya, kailangan pa talagang i-force, kailangan pag i-remind. Kasi nga, it's very satisfying. It gives you the satiety. And it's also very important. Kaya nung nag-meet and greet kami yesterday, nakita ko yung mga table nila. Ang daming natirang proteins, ang daming natirang chicken. So, and sila yung mga, iba yung mga concern nga nila, alam mo, very consistent talaga dahil kulang talaga sila sa kain. And it should be prioritized. So, it's very important to know more about your protein needs and protein intake. Generally, magkanong proteins yung kailangan mo lang in a day?
60 kilograms, so mga
120.
120 siguro.
So 120 grams of protein if you translate that into meat na raw meat kasi nasa 20% lang yun. So mga nasa 600 grams, no? Almost a little more than half kilo of meat in a day. So ano ba yung pinakamurang meat ngayon? Chicken? Chicken ba?
mahal din chicken. Yung ground pork, Doc. So yun na yung binibili namin kasi yun yung the cheapest at saka mga bukog yung bones knuckles. Ganyan. Yun na yung dalawa para meron talagang meat.
Oo, so kahit pa nasa magkano na ba? Like 300 pesos per kilo?
Ang mga for 300 yata yung sa ground pork. Tapos or mga 290 something like that, maglalaro siya 290 to 300 or 280. Yung knuckles naman makabili ka ng mga 200 plus pa, 220 ganyan.
So if you, especially for the working class, no, if you are 60 kilos, so you need like 100 to 120 grams of protein. So nasa half kilo yan. So that's 150 pesos. So hindi nyo yan kailangan 150 pesos per meal. That's already good enough for the whole day. So depende if kaya mo ubusin yung half kilo in one sitting, so by all means do so. Pero kung hindi kaya, you can divide it. So, pwede kang kumain ng 2 or 3 meals. So, nasa hatiin mo. And then, it will not become so much. Kasi yung iba, especially sa mga mommies, especially tulad ni Love, na sobrang kakaunti kung kumain. So, kailangan ng pacing. Kasi hindi kayang ubusin in one sitting. Hindi tulad ko and my likes na ubusin ng isang half kilo in one sitting. So yon, kailangan ng training din. So yung isang tip na sinasabi ko noon, as much as we are okay with vegetables, na low carb vegetables, but if you are still struggling to meet your protein requirements in a day, your protein needs in a day, unahin mo muna kainin yung mga karne, yung protein sa plato mo. And then the moment na naubos mo na siya, that's the time that you can eat your vegetables kung gusto mo talagang mag-vegetables, because I understand marami yung hindi kayang kumain ng walang vegetables. Parang kulang sa kanila. Maybe it's brought about by all of those years na brainwash tayo na eating vegetables is the only important thing na kailangan natin gawin to be healthy. So yon, when you do that, you can make sure na target proteins are met. And yung vegetables, add on na lang. So, fourth
Right.
tip, Jan?
Yeah, four tips is, of course, we have to eat whole foods talaga, no? So, mayroong times, no, then na ang available lang is canned goods, di ba? Or ano ba, yung mga corned beef, ganun. So, naka-can siya. So, as much as possible, I really avoid eating them. So, whole food talaga yung hinahanda sa ano namin, pagkainan namin kasi that's the real food. So, pag there are a lot of preservatives naman sa mga canned goods. So, hindi siya advisable talaga na yun ang kakainin natin. So, ano talaga, i-prio talaga natin yung whole food, yung real food kasi siya yung talagang kumbaga free from all those mga chemicals na inaano ng ano mga industries. So, yun po. Mm-mm.
I couldn't agree more, no? Especially yung corned beef, paborito din namin yon. But good thing, meron na namang mga corned beef ngayon na yung parang homemade siya na corned beef, hindi siya nakakan. And it's also easy to do. I remember before when we were in our elementary, meron kaming subject na home economics. So doon we were taught how to make corned beef, and since hindi pa uso nun yung pagiging matatakotin ng iba sa taba ng baboy. It was actually made, yung recipe na yon, yung beef, it was boiled na pressure cooker together with pork fats.
Mm.
Sobrang sarap. So, yung nagpapamarinam pala sa kanya were the pork fats. So, yung karne ng baka, beef, is very, very lean. Di ba? Sobrang tigas. Kasi nga, yung sa atin ito, it's very, very, ano talaga, matigas, and it's grass-fed. Pero yung taba pala, yung nagpapalinamnam sa kanya would be the pork fats. It was pressure cooked until such time na yung pork fats ay hindi mo na makikita. So yummy. And then you can do that. Just add paminta, pepper, paminta, salt, and I think garlic lang. And then corned beef na siya. Sobrang sarap. So try to avoid those na naka-can, naka-process, because we don't know. Although meron namang parang better options among them, kasi meron namang iba na nag-go with natural, like certain kinds of tuna na in brine or in seawater or in whatever, in ano lang na hindi ganun ka-processed, walang mga seed oils. Those are somewhat the lesser evil. But if you can choose the no evil at all, which are the whole foods, then all the better. So thanks for that, Coach Ann. What's your fifth in
So,
LCF?
okay. So, fifth naman is of course, no, yung maraming nagtatanong about yung healthy fats. So, ano ba talaga, how much ba yung kakainin or i-consume na mga healthy fats? We have to choose healthy fats, no? So, ano ba yung mga healthy fats na ini-prioritize ko din? It's really coming from avocado or real butter. Hindi yung mga mayroong butterlicious na buttercup na mga butter na yan kasi ano yan inflammatory yan so that's not the real butter. Tsaka of course yung pag nagluluto kami, it's always coconut oil na yung ginagamit talaga. And yung olive oil, bihira lang siyang gamitin, not really for
For
cooking, but
cooking.
that's
Yeah.
for salad. Yeah. So, yun, merong healthy fats sa food na mix. And that's really coming from coconut oil talaga usually. Yung
Mhm.
ano na. Mm-mm.
So, yeah, it's really, really true. Kasi not all fats are created equal. May mga fats talaga na hindi talaga kaaya-aya. others who are saying na they are on keto, akala nila na pwede na silang maglagay ng lahat ng taba in every food that they have. So be careful talaga with butter versus margarine, and butter looking margarines and butter sounding margarines, but they're all just margarine. If they don't put na butter only, na butter lang talaga, then most likely it's not real butter. And butter also, since it's coming from dairy product, if you are not sure na if it's grass-fed and all the best quality, better to take them in moderation also. Hindi kailangan. So the best kind of fats are the ones that are healthy and natural, meaning not much processing. Coconut oil, we are lucky that we are here in the Philippines. Na virgin coconut oil and coconut are very abundant. But in other forms of natural fats, it's actually related also to our proteins, our number three tip, and our number four tip, which is whole food. And it's the fats that are already embedded in their natural forms, which is the ones in your pork belly, in your meat, in your fish, kahit milkfish, bangus, salmon, and other fish na seafoods na merong mga taba, those are natural. So, the one, ano nga yung tawag doon? Yung taba ng crabs? Aligi? Aligi ba yun?
Hindi ko alam sa Bisaya Dok or sa Tagalog.
So those are actually okay. They're actually okay as long as you take them without carbohydrates. So choose healthy fats, and I'm so happy that you emphasize that olive oil, as much as it is really healthy, but it is best taken raw, hindi na ina-undergo ng heat. If you want to maximize all the important na nutrients and vitamins and minerals and antioxidants that are in olive oil. So thanks for that, Coach Anne. What's your number six tip for LCF lifestyle?
Ito, favorite ko itong 6 tips na to. Kasi, di ba, maraming nagsasabi na ang low carb daw is very, complicated, ang mahal-mahal. Kasi they're thinking about, especially yung mga keto treats, di ba, low carb treats. So, yun, namamahalan sila. But, we just have to, sa akin, I really just simplify low carb way of eating. So, in fact, I became creative pa nga when I do my meal. So, meron times kasi Doc, 'di ba, na the same lang yung meal, kung ano yung first meal, second meal, the same. So, I made some i-upgrade ko siya, lalagyan ko siya. It could be in my plating siguro how I present it para maganda din siya sa paningin ko. Or I will add some, for example, yung ano ba, pwede din kung ground pork, usually yung meat ko ngayon kasi yun lang ang the cheapest one I can really find in the market. So, lalagyan ko na siya kung first meal ko, purely ground pork. Then, sa second meal ko, meron na siyang additional na sayote, ganun. So, lalagyan ko siya or could be cabbage. So, parang hindi siya, then lalagyan lang mga bell pepper na red para maganda din siya sa paningin ko. So, that is how I simplify it. Hindi kailangan na, you have to complicate the low carb way of eating. Marami pang mga ibang food na you can really simplify it. Ang egg. So, hindi kailangan na complicated yung preparation mo din, no? Boiled egg lang, ano na, okay na yan. Sunny side up. Although there are different kinds of, cooking egg, but the easiest way is really the boiled egg and the sunny side up or the scrambled egg. Yun. So that's what just examples of the many,
Yeah.
many.
I can really relate to that, especially yung sa preparation at side. Although ever since before, I really love cooking. I really love preparing meals, especially for my loved ones. Pero when it comes to low carb, marami akong kilala na never nagluto ng a whole life before low carb. Hindi talaga nagluluto, hindi mo makikita sa kusina. But the moment they went into low carb, especially if sila yung nauna sa kanilang family, they don't have a choice but prepare it themselves, but learn the ways and tricks sa kitchen, and eventually they also derive satisfaction and pleasure preparing their own meals. And yes, making it simple is one of the most important thing to make it sustainable. At maganda yung tip na yon at ginagawa ko rin yan, Coach Ann. Yung sa first meal, parang simple lang siya. So, for example, for us, we do meal preps noon in Bacolod for Maming and Papi. Like, we have basic na boiled na chicken or pork. So, asin lang yan. That alone, you can already eat. And then, if you want something else, para nga hindi maumay, which is also part of sustainability, para hindi pa balik-balik, the next meal you can cook it again with some vinegar and cocoa aminos and some sweetener if you like na low carb, and then para na siyang adobo. And then
Yes.
if you want to convert it into tinola, you can just add water, the broth na nakuha mo nung pinakuluan mo yan, and then you add sayote. Since we don't use papaya, we
Mm-mm.
use elote instead in our tinola, and then we put malunggay or whatever green leafy vegetables that you want there. So you already have tinola, and if you want to make it sinigang, you can also add to make it sinigang. So you make it beautiful, you make it pleasurable, you make it appetizing, but at the same time, just make it simple. Very important to make it simple para mas masustain talaga. Because if you will keep on searching kapag, minsan kasi nakikita mo sa Life Without Rice page, no? Parang ang sobrang complicated na, ang dami kailangan prepare. So, others will be disheartened. Di ba?
Competitive yung,
Ha?
competitive yung mga
Competitive yung mga tao. They are competing. Kaya nga ako, hindi ko na maalala when was the last time I post there. Kasi ko pag post parang nahihiya ako. Ang pagkain ko, pare-pareho. Ayun lang parate. It's just the same plate of different kind of meats, different kind of levels ng pagkasunog, ng pagkaluto, or whatever. So those, I think the beauty of it is also an added factor. But we should not be blinded na yung ating talagang pang-araw-araw is actually just the boring and the simple, but at the same time, it's something that we like and it's sustainable. Before, di ba, kasi kung yung hindi pa tayo magkasama kumain all day, every day, you are also wondering how to really eat low carb. It was one of your parang struggle why you can't keep low carb before because you didn't know. It could just be simple.
Oo nga.
Simple lang pala. So, yan. Thanks for that, Coach Ann. So, what's your seventh tip in this?
Yes, 7 tips. So, take enough sleep at least 7 to 9 hours. Kasi, Doc, yung sa akin, meron akong ano talaga dito. I have really a very, very struggling experience when it comes to sleep. Um, ah, nag, ano siya, mag-trigger kasi siya. Number one, if makainom ako ng coffee beyond yung 2 PM okay pa, pero mga 4 PM na onwards, yan hindi na ako makatulog, mag-insomnia na ako. And then yung pangalawa, 'pag meron akong maraming iniisip, so, ma-bother ako kaya hanggang sa pagtulog ko dalang-dala ko pa yung mga thoughts ko. So, hindi din ma-insomnia na naman ako. Then the third one is 'pag na-excited ako sa certain occasion or event or sa kahit
Like
anong.
yung natin in Cebu.
Oo. So, yun hindi ako makatulog. So, sometimes ayaw kong may ano kasi ma-excite ako. Pero yun Dog, yung mga events. So, yun yung the thing that I really tried to cope up talaga. So, thankfully I'm working on it. I'm doing well naman. So, dahil ang sleep talaga is very important kasi pag hindi tayo makatulog, well, yung ramdam ko Dok, yung ano ko, yung organs ko, pag ano na siya, mga 11, nag-ano na siya, nagre-react na siya. So, meron ng mga sounds na maririnig ko, gano'n na. So, parang feel ko talaga nagra-rumble, nag-aaway na siguro sila. So, I don't feel good about it. So, I'm so worried na ma-damage yung ano ko, yung mga organs ko. Tapos parang kung nga, you're eating a healthy food, but yung sleep ko naman hindi naman maganda. So hindi din siya, you're not holistically healthy din, 'di ba? Kasi nag-release ng stress hormone kasi yung ano natin pag nasa-stress na, so may cortisol na mag-release ng this cortisol stress hormone. So, yun yung talagang isang bagay na I always make sure na I have enough sleep. So, the good thing lang ngayon is of course dahil freelancer na ako, so I have the ample time to really make bawi talaga about my sleep. So it's working well na. I'm improving on it na. So yun.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, no? And si Love nga, nalaman na niya kung gaano ko pina-prioritize yung sleep ko sa araw-araw at sa aking buhay. Because no amount of anything in the world that can replace the need of sleep for us humans talaga. Wala siya kahit gaano kaganda yung fasting mo, kahit gaano kagrabe yung exercise mo, kahit gaano kaganda yung kinakain mo, kahit nutrient dense pa yan. But if you lack sleep, then walang pwedeng makakompensate nito. So for those who are interested in knowing how to get better sleep, I think we've made a few more videos about sleep and importance of sleep. You can just browse it. We have our YouTube channel. You just put my name, Dr. Rojo, and sleep. Maybe maraming lalabas dyan. And of course, it is very important talaga to prioritize it because without proper sleep, pwedeng ma-jeopardize yung inyong mga kung anumang pinaglalaban ninyo sa buhay. And I would just like to emphasize for those who have been watching us ever since we started this interview series. For those na baka na-confuse kayo, yung cortisol, because cortisol was discussed with Sir Marco Reyes that time, na it's one of the byproducts of cholesterol in the body. It's important. So, cortisol is a stress hormone and it's not good if it's always elevated and sustained. But low amount of cortisol, meron yung normal level sa ating katawan. And it is important for us to have that. Without cortisol, hindi rin maganda. Manghihina tayo. It is a needed hormone in the body. It's just that we need to keep it low, hindi high level. Just like insulin. Meron tayong normal level niyan. But if it's always high, which happens when we are under stress or we lack sleep, then that is when the problem really arises. So, yan. So, thanks for that, Coach Ann. Ample and quality sleep. So, what's your
Yes. Yung 9th naman, so ito na yung
or eight? Eight pa
yeah,
ata.
yes, yung 8 pala. 8 pa pala. Okay. So it's how to manage stress, no? So naranasan ko din ito kahit nag-low carb na ako. So yung pagma-manage ko ng stress, especially yung so ito na papasok yung overcoming stress. Parang i-mix ko na lang. So when Odette happens kasi last year December. So no one was really prepared about it. No, lahat ng mga Visayan regions were affected at saka lalo na dito sa Cebu. So we were not expecting na ganun katindi yung damage. So nag-start yung ko doc, yung stressors ko sa time na yon. So it was really more on not the physical thing kasi kaya ko naman yung the physical aspect. It's really the emotional and the mental aspect talaga yung I was really struggling about kasi yun nga yung sa case ko kasi I resigned from my work just because of due to stress also, no, chronic stress na kasi yung reason talaga why I resigned from my work. Tapos okay na ako. The time I resigned, the day after that, yung ko, yung mayroon akong nafi-feel na headache all around here to at the back. So buong dito. So naglo-low carb ako pero bakit pa masakit pa rin yung ulo ko? Iyon na lang hindi talaga nawala, doc. So when I decided to I really kanang figure it out kung ano ba talaga yung dahilan kung bakit hindi siya nawala. Wala, naglo-low carb na ako eh. Okay na yung ibang ko eh, nahiheal na ako. But itong sakit ng ulo ko hindi pa rin. So when I decided to resign and quit my job, the day after that, nawala yung ko, doc. Yung sakit ng ko. As in, para akong na ng tinik. Yung talagang malaking tinik. Oo, na, as in literally, ang gaan ng feeling ko, para akong, yung experience ko, I was fasting 48 hours, first 48 hours ko na extended fasting, yun yung nararamdaman ko the day after na officially, wala na talaga akong trabaho. So, I was really doing okay after that until yung Odette dumating. So, yun, ang stressors ko naman yung naging emotional at saka mental kasi no one was prepared about it. So ganun katindi pala yung pangyayari. So yung walang tubig, walang kuryente, at saka affected yung online ano ko, yung online
Coaching.
income ko, coaching ko. Kasi I was already at the peak of at that time eh. Tapos biglang nawala lahat. So may savings nga pero hindi siya kakasya. Hindi pa namin alam kung kailan ito mag-e-end, no? Kailan babalik yung ano. So both of us sa ano kasi namin, online kasi yung income namin eh. So very affected about that. Hindi mo anticipated yung pangyayari ba. So yun, naging ano ako, I feel so down, I was so depressed, na-stress ako in comes to my emotional and mental aspect. So feeling ko nade-delayed, huling-huli na ako sa mga trainings kasi marami ako mga trainings, may personal development ako na sinasalihan. I invest on it as well pero nahuhuli na ako, parang ayaw ko nang mag-catch up kasi feeling ko parang ako na lang nag-iisa. Pero ganyan, so it's more on emotional and mental talaga. So hindi healthy yung ano ko and I don't know how to react on it. I don't know how to respond on it. Kaya hindi ko alam paano siya i-manage. So when I learn to calm myself na, so that's the time na in-internalize ko na naman yung mga pangyayari. And then, yun, I learned na we don't need to overthink everything. So, and then address certain stressors accordingly, parang ganun. So, you just have to be calm and then, I know, list down lang kung anong gagawin. May option 2, option 1, option 3 tayo sa ano response natin because the most important thing about it, yung stressors natin in life is how we will respond, how we will react on it. So yun yung natutunan ko. So ngayon, masasabi ko na I'm learning about overcoming it and I'm not saying na it's perfect, no, I'm perfect na on it, but at least no, with that experience, natutunan ko din siya kung paano ako mag-react. Kasi importante yung reaction natin eh. At saka ano lang, always think positive thoughts. Yun yung palagi ko na lang iniisip. Kasi meron din sa ano mo eh, sa book mo yung third, ito, Perfect at Last Wellness. Ito. Ano ko 'to, eh, oo. So, ini-scan ko 'to, I mean, I read it kasi 'pag mayroon akong sa mga stress o gano'n. So, ito importante yung mga positivity din. So, kailangan, we have that mindset talaga. Kasi kung ano yung iniisip natin, yun yung magiging outcome din natin, eh. So, yun Doc, that's for mm.
Those are really good points, especially na yung stress talaga, meron yan, hindi talaga yan mawawala. The problem, hindi na, the only time na wala tayong problema is when we are already dead. So, yun lang talaga yung only time nun. And yes, we have to manage them just like how we manage our health problems. We also manage stress at root cause. Kailangan talaga natin silang i-deal. And it may appear as parang mountain na impossible talaga. But the moment you overcome it, your level when it comes to your personal development is going to be so much more. Kung gano'ng kataas yung mountain na na-overcome mo, you will be at that level na from that day forward. So it's the obstacle is the way up, no? And yun nga, one thing I learned with you na if kahit ano pa yan, it's not the first time na nangyari yan sa human history. So kahit gaano pa kalaki yung problema mo, it's not the first time na hindi lang ikaw yung una ng problema niyan. Others have dealt with it and they've become successful for sure. So yun lang. Meron na rin na dumaan sa ganyang problema. It's not as unique. So you just have to figure a way out. And if you give yourself that needed confidence, you can think na if others have overcome it, I can overcome and can thrive. So you can think of
Yes.
ways, even better ways on how you will turn that obstacle nga into something that is like an opportunity for you to grow better. And for those who are still struggling, especially sa merong mga GERD, yun. They usually come together, GERD and anxiety. Kahit
Right.
i-deny nyo sa inyong sarili. But the moment that you know you have GERD, try to think how much of a worrier you are. And sometimes we have to create our own positivity. We have to create our own hope, our own happiness to keep us going talaga. So, importante yon. And for those who need help on that, meron tayong low carb and fasting masterclass also for GERD, peptic ulcer disease, hyperacidity, na it may come as a surprise, but there is one episode there, one video there that is just intended on how to manage stress because they usually go together. That is different pa from our longevity and mental wellness masterclass to which we will pursue pagkatapos ng ating National Low Carb Day on October 2, 2022. So, Coach Ann, what's your number 9 tip on
Nine.
healthy lifestyle?
Ito, favorite ko 'to, avoid toxic people. Kasi marami talagang sa lifestyle natin, Doc, 'no, maraming nagko-comment, lately nga merong comment nga sa akin, eh, nag-ano lang ako, so this is a relatable, latest ano, i-share ko lang. So, I'm not really, kanang magko-comment ng mga sa social media, 'no, but yun lang na-attract lang ako to comment a certain thing about, uh, yung bata na hindi dapat i-force to eat, because they know best sa body nila. So kung kailan sila kakain, they will eat. But if hindi sila kakain, they will not, I mean, they will not hungry, they will not eat. So parang ganun yung ano, yung subject na yon. So kasi yung bata, parang very sleepy na, tapos pinapakain, parang pino-force to eat. So yun, nagko-comment lang ako. But yun, meron akong basher. So ano, nagmamarunong daw ako, gano'n, ay inapa daw ako, parang gano'n ba. So I don't like to dwell on it na ba. So yun, isa yung example na toxic siya. So pag meron tayong may experience na ganyan, mga toxic people, you just have to ignore them, and as much as possible, do not comment na lang anything if our opinion is not being asked. Kasi yun talaga yung biggest lesson ko. Although public figure naman yung ano, no, it's a very influential ano, influencer siya dito sa Cebu. So, but that's really a biggest learning na don't comment na lang. So, ikikip ko na lang yung natutunan ko sa mga taong gustong, will hear from it, will learn it from me, so or sa atin. So, doon na lang kaysa, openly showing your or kung ano your opinion, sharing your opinion, eh, hindi naman talaga lahat mag-agree sa iyo. So, yun, yan. Avoid talaga any type of toxic people.
Yun nga sabi nila, no, we don't need that kind of negativity in our life. Pero
Yeah.
if I may rephrase it, no, aside from avoiding toxic people, you can also choose who to listen to. Hindi lahat kailangan mong pakinggan. And then also, one thing is to choose your battle. So baka ibang gera yung pinasukan mo doon, Coach Ann. Maybe hindi ka talaga dapat pumasok doon. But if ever, I know that when you did it, when you commented, your heart is in the right place. And as always, kahit pa yung merong mga bashers nga, there will always be people who will say negative things no matter how good your intention is, no matter how good is your purpose sana. And sometimes we feel disheartened. So we have the option to fight with them face to face or ignore them. But there's actually a third option. You don't need to fight them and you don't need to ignore them, but you can actually listen to where they are coming from. And then don't take it personally. You just think of why they did that. Ikaw mismo, you try to emphasize. You go beyond what is the pain that you are feeling right at that moment and understand them. Then maybe the moment you understand them, you can devise a way, maybe try to imagine if you will do it again, you can rephrase how you said it. Then maybe you can meet at certain point wherein you can truly help them and they will also be open to your suggestion. So those are the things that we can do. But of course, sorry na lang sa mga toxic people na instantly inavoidan ni Coach Ann. And for those na part pa ng kanyang buhay, you are actually very lucky because ibig sabihin nun, you are still valuable. For those people who are in our lives, they are very lucky because we choose to stay with them regardless of their toxicity level. And that is love. So, salamat
Right.
sa minahal natin sila, and we continue to love as many as we can to help them in any way that we can. So yun lang, avoid toxic people, you choose your battle, and we can still learn, because no matter how much pa of a big difference we have with others, but there is always something that we can learn from others, kahit pa isipin mo na malayong malayo kayo ng agwat, but you just don't know how we can learn from other people's point of view then. So what's your 10th tip, Coach Anne? Is this the
Yeah,
last
my
one?
this is the last one. So yung 10th is, of course, no, if we really care about ourselves, no, yung especially our health, we have to love ourselves by, investing sa self natin. So may it be sa health, may it be sa personal development, kailangan, or your spiritual aspect, kailangan natin siya talaga na we have to love ourselves. So yun yung 10 ko, love yourself, because that's the only gift that you can give talaga sa sarili mo, and then to your family as well, no? Especially lalo na pag sa health na talaga, ito talaga yung napapansin ko na marami pa rin sa mga Pilipino na they're very hesitant when it comes to investing about their health, no? So yun yung nakakalungkot talaga, Doc. Dahil they're not really willing to invest by, eating the right kind of food, buying the right kind of food, yung low carb nutrition na inaano natin, sinishare natin, walang humpay na pag-share. So that's really something that you can really that we can really give to ourselves, na mahalin natin sarili natin sa pamamagitan ng pag-take care sa katawan natin, sa health natin, or sa invest ng personal development din. Yung spiritual aspect, importante talaga yun. Kasi if we don't have that, malolost din tayo eh. So, yun yung, kasi pag mayroon tayong spiritual, paganda yung spiritual, natin, as health natin, pa-follow na yung mental. Tsaka yung, and the rest, no? Mga social, intellectual, health natin, follow na yan pag yung spiritual aspect din natin is nurture din natin. So, yun yung pagmamahal natin sa ating sarili.
Thank you, Coach Anne. I couldn't agree more, no? Promoter talaga ako ng self-love and self-care. And yun nga, you cannot give from an empty cup. So you have to make sure na you fill yourself first. Mahirap yan tanggapin ng mga taong very very invested on serving others, especially yung mga martyr nating mga mommies na yung definition nila ng kanilang buhay is to serve their family. But they should first take care of themselves nga. Because if they don't do that, may limit yan. They will only be able to do whatever they want to do until lang such time na kaya pa ng katawan nila. But until when is that? So, kailangan talaga, wag nating hintayin na it's already too late for us to continue to do what we do, because our body cannot afford to do so na, because we have already succumbed to illness at kung ano-ano pang deterioration that comes with life. So, that's why we have to invest in ourselves in all aspects, spiritual side, physical, health, mental, emotional, lahat-lahat, before we can truly provide for others. And I think those are the 10 tips na very, very important on LCF lifestyle into keeping it sustainable and keeping our stress at bay. Dapat controlled yan. And to recap, this would include, can you read, Coach Anne?
All right, know the carbohydrates limit in low carb. 2, avoid both simple and complex carbohydrates. 3rd, prioritize your proteins. 4, eat whole foods. 5th, choose healthy, natural fats. 6, make it simple. 7th, ample and quality sleep. 8, manage stress well. 9, avoid toxic people. 10, invest on yourself or love yourself. So, yun.
Talaga. Self-love. Pagkatapos ko ng self-love, nakita ko si One True Love. So,
Yeah. Hi, Doc and Brian.
Maybe.
so, Coach Anne, before we end, any last words or anyone you want to greet before we end today's happy discussion?
Yeah. So, first talaga, Doc, invite ko yung lahat ng mga tao, especially the Cebuanos, no? Cebuanas na sa National Low Carb Day, sana makapunta kayo. Headed by, of course, our beloved Doktora Grace Rohotan. So sa ano yan, Muntinlupa, Alabang ba yun, Dok, no? Oo,
Yeah.
doon. So that will be on October 2. So magkita-kita ta. And hopefully also, Doc, I am really praying na I can really come because that's a very parang it's a opportunity na to see each other na din sa community. So yun talaga. I will pray for it talaga na I can. But I registered na sa ano din. So I'm done na with that registration. Then of course no this is would like lang to say hello to all sa Doc na katong adto sa meet and greet the last August 29th sa mga ni show up ng mga Cebuanos. Ako lang i-mention lang gyud kay para malipay pud sila no si Ma'am Engr. I think they were there yesterday. Nag-meet and greet din siya sa inyo. Si Ma'am Salome at siya si I think sino ba yung isa? Ma'am Gail yata. Oo. Then si Jesly, si Ma'am Marl, si Ma'am Ren, si Riza. Kilala mo si Riza? Oo, yung pumunta sa meet and greet din nung on November 28. Tsaka si Sir Gami at si Real. So, at si Christine. Salamat sa ano sa pagpunta niyo, pag-show up sa meet and greet natin with other Bacolod fellow coaches, Coach Nin, Coach Gisela, and Coach Daniel. So, and the last lang, Doc, sorry if ano ko talaga, i-shout out ko to itong very good friend of mine na who believe talaga the lifestyle ng low carb. So, he is parang I don't know if going to obese na ba siya, but sige, overweight na lang, going to obese na lang siguro. Then he's starting low carb lifestyle na ngayon. So I'm coaching him na din para ano matulungan ko siya, and he has also hypertension. That's Bong Rafael. So hello to you, and I hope that you will continue the lifestyle and you will love it and share it to the people that you love as well, so that ano ma-experience nila kung gaano ka ganda ang lifestyle na ito. So yun lang, Doc.
Thank
And
you, Coach Ann. We hope to see you. Nag-register ka na. So, magkita na talaga tayo. Yan. Wag ka na magduda pa. And for those who want to be a part of our National Low Carb Day, we hope to really see you there. We've prepared a lot for you. The Low Carb Con 2022, the Low Carb Workshop, wherein tuturuan ka ng mga low carb cooking, fitness, and life tips ng mga life coaches natin. And for those, just in case you want to go on up close and personal, we will open a dinner with yours truly on the National Low Carb Day after the event. So contact nyo lang yung admins natin in this number, or you can also check our website at www.nationallowcarbday.com. And we hope to see you. Maraming salamat, Coach Ann, for this very, very informative LCF lifestyle tips with our very own Cebuana low carb coach, Coach Ann Kasha. Thank you,
yeah,
Doc.
thank you too, Doc. Salamat kaayo, Dr. Ken, Brian.
Sige. Bye-bye, everyone. Stay low carb, stay safe.